I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Hey, you guys, and welcome back to the News du Jour, a calmer space to consume the news. My dog just will not settle down today. I don't know what is going on with him. I apologize if he is in the background a little bit more than usual. Anyway, I wanted to, right here at the top, ask you guys a favor. Would you tell one friend or family member or colleague about our podcast? We have been doing this podcast for a number of years now, and we've been growing at a steady rate. However, if each of you guys who listens told one person and convinced one person to listen to the News du Jour, we would literally double in size. So you guys have the power to do that. If you love the News du Jour, that is one of the number one ways you can support us, and it's totally free. Just tell other people about our show and open up their phone and hit that subscribe button so that it's in their feed and they don't have to lift a finger to get informed. Now, today for you guys, I do have at the top a little mini story, an update on Hurricane Lee, and then we're going to jump into 3 other stories, one of which is an art history related story. You guys know how I love those, so we will get into the details. Let's jump in. So first and foremost, we do have our Hurricane Lee update here at the top. Experts have been tracking Hurricane Lee minute by minute as it churns out in the Atlantic. It is still hurtling towards the east coast of the United States. Right now, it's a Category 3 storm and Lee is south of Bermuda. Experts are saying that as of right now, the places that are set to get hardest hit by Lee are Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, Eastern Long Island, Rhode Island, Nova Scotia, and the Connecticut coastline. So basically farther north locations along the coast. We'll definitely keep you guys posted though on Lee's progression. And if you live in any of those areas, be sure to tune into your local weather channels and just keep an eye on this storm. So for our first story, we do have to update you guys on the Google antitrust lawsuit. Okay, guys, so the US is officially beginning a new chapter of taking on tech giants, and we couldn't be more into it. You see, here in the US, these big tech companies have operated pretty unchecked, and honestly, it's not cool. It's not in our best interest. Healthy competition is good for the economy and it's good for the consumer. So in this first step, the United States is taking on Google, claiming that they are in violation of antitrust laws and basically operating a monopoly in the search engine space. So what does that mean? If you're violating antitrust laws, it means that you have basically gone out of your way to squash competition in a way that was kind of shady and wasn't just having a superior product. And let's face it, Google is synonymous with searching online. They definitely have a monopoly. Anybody can see that. I mean, it's a verb at this point. You say to Google something. But on Tuesday, the United States kicked off their court battle to argue that Google has boxed out the competition, not because they are a superior product, but because they have used business maneuvers to orchestrate a chokehold on this segment of the industry. This case was actually first filed back in 2020 when William Barr was Attorney General under Donald Trump. We will definitely keep you guys posted and up to date as this case unfolds. It's very important and something to keep an eye on. For our next two stories, we kind of have a theme, things that were lost that are now found. And we're going to start with a lost Vincent Van Gogh. So the first is a priceless Vincent Van Gogh painting that was stolen in 2020 during the pandemic from a museum in Holland. The piece was then returned on Monday, bubble wrapped in an IKEA bag, to the home of a Dutch art crimes investigator. This detective had been hunting this painting down with all that he had ever since the 1884 Van Gogh went missing. Crazy enough, the people suspected to be involved with the robbery had already been arrested and convicted. You see, they used these encrypted ways of communicating about committing the robbery, and the police intercepted the communications and unencrypted them. I have no idea how that actually works, but they were able to link the communication back to the guys who did this, and of course they had them on video camera. But of course, these dudes did not want to admit that they had stolen this piece, and thus they did not tell them where it was. Over the years, the detective got tons of tips about this painting's whereabouts and even received photos of it. It's believed that different, major criminals maybe used it as collateral. But at the end of the day, a painting like that is actually worthless. And we'll get to that a little bit later. So it's believed that the tipster is actually the one who returned it, the guy who was sending the photos, and the community is super grateful. Pieces like this require a lot of maintenance and babying. I took an art restoration class while studying abroad in college as part of my art history degree, so I am relieved that they can begin taking care of this little guy again the way he deserves, because one wrong move can take years off the life of a priceless work of art like this. I'm thankful he is home. If you're thinking about stealing a priceless piece of artwork, though, think twice. It's not as lucrative as you would think. In fact, it's not lucrative at all because you can't sell what everyone out there is looking for. Almost all these stories end the same way, with the thieves in jail and the art returned to where it belongs. Hopefully not too worse for the wearer. And the second thing lost and then found, a pen inmate escaped and then was captured. Okay, guys, so this has been a legitimately crazy story going down over the past 2 weeks, and I kept being tempted to tell you guys about it, and then I would change my mind because I knew that this story was going to be evolving and unfolding, and I wanted to tell it to you guys when it had an ending, and I'm glad to say it now does. You can hear the full roller coaster ride all at once, knowing it comes to a conclusion. Let's hop on and buckle up. So a convicted murderer in Philadelphia escaped prison. And guys, if I could play the video for you of him escaping, I would. It's definitely worth looking up. But of course, it's only visual, so I will attempt to describe it. Basically, there is a door where this inmate is supposed to go back into the prison from the outdoor prison yard area, or so it seems. That's what it looks like. But instead, he put his feet on one wall and his hands on the other and kind of shimmied up the wall into this hiding space in the roof. And that is how he escaped. No one saw it. He actually did it so fast, you guys. It's literally in real time and he just shimmies right up there. 1 second he's there and the next he's gone. And this happened back on August 31st. So then, basically, he went on the run and he was in the Philadelphia area and a manhunt ensued that ended just yesterday. It definitely had the whole area on the lookout as this man is a convicted murderer and he's believed to have killed more than once, so he very well could be dangerous. This man actually went to try to visit some former coworkers. He stole clothing somehow and a van and even a firearm eventually. They had him surrounded at one point, but he managed to evade over 400 law enforcement officials, much to their embarrassment. But things began to really heat up on Monday night when the man, whose name is Danilo Cavalante, walked into an open garage. He found a rifle in the garage, grabbed it, and the homeowner was apparently there, and upon seeing Danilo, fired a pistol at him, but he took off, and he took off with the rifle. That had everyone concerned, knowing that this man was armed and had random citizens like shooting at him out of their homes. Law enforcement had a fire lit under them more than ever. A burglar alarm went off in a home shortly after midnight on Wednesday in this area, and they suspected it was Danilo who set it off. The problem was this home was actually nestled in like a wooded area. So after they scared him off, he ran away. They began using a heat detector tool to scan the brush for human life. And that is when they believed they had located Danilo. Now, considering that he had evaded them before, they did not take this lightly. The team came in tactical gear and surrounded this person very quietly. They used the element of surprise to their advantage and kind of pounced on him. Once he realized the police were there, he again tried to escape, but they actually released a dog on him who was the one to finally capture him, basically. And he was taken into custody without shots fired and in a dirty Eagles sweatshirt, just to make it the ultimate Philadelphia story. In Brazil, where he's from, Danilo is still wanted for murder. And here in the US, he is convicted of stabbing his girlfriend to death. So it's probably a good thing he's been apprehended. And I'm glad he was not able to hurt anyone while he was out. And that for today is the news du jour. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with the quote: "Sometimes we think we want to disappear, when really all we want is to be found." If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use to listen. A rate and review or shout out on social media would mean the world to us and help us be able to keep creating the news du jour. But the best way to support all of our work is to become a patron at www.patreon.com/sugarfreemedia. You can also follow us on social media under sugarfreemedia.co on Instagram and just sugarfreemedia, all one word, on TikTok. Any little noises you may hear in the background are my rescue pup. He has a little separation anxiety and always records with me. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour. Broadcasting from Oklahoma.